Hi, everyone. Welcome again to another episode of Artist Spotlight. Today we have a special guest, Rachel Davis from San Francisco. She's an incredible artist and psychologist. Right, Rachel? Well, welcome. So, Rachel, please introduce yourself. Who are you and where are you from? I know I mentioned San Francisco, but please tell everybody else.
Sure. I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area, just north of it in Marin County. And I am not originally from here. I'm originally from the New York area, from New York City.
Yeah.
And and you want me to give my sort of whole artist backstory?
Sure. Yeah. How do you come about? I mean, you're a psychologist as well. So tell me more about, how do you from psychology to art and how they connect
Okay,
together.
I am happy to do that because when you asked me to think about what inspired me, and I've listened to some of your other interviews,
Mhm.
and I'm not one of those people who always thought of herself as an artist.
Okay.
Definitely
Nothing's
not.
wrong with that.
Well, I didn't think of myself, but as I look back, the
Yeah.
seeds were there definitely. Even though I didn't identify them as artistic seeds, but
Mhm.
many people, my mom would just care deeply, deeply about beauty. And we would go to museums all the time and look at magazines together and talk about beautiful dresses and things
Yeah.
like that. My dad was a singer in our synagogue, and always like in the center of things as a performer. And
Mhm.
a brother of mine was as well, and another brother of mine took off some time to try to make movies for a couple of years. And
Wow. Okay.
my dad made up stories, like crazy creative stories.
Yeah.
And I just never thought of it as, nobody made a living as an artist. That was just not
Mhm.
that was not something that was ever
Okay.
thought of in
Yeah.
my community.
Mhm.
But I used to play for hours and hours and hours at a time with friends, designing environments and things like that.
Mm.
But the other thing I was always interested in is people. I've always been a real people person, and
Mhm.
the person that people came to the shoulder to cry on. And I was that person,
Yeah.
just fascinated with humans. So when it came time to pursue things, I went to graduate school and got a PhD in clinical psychology.
Uh-huh.
Very quickly, artists started appearing in my practice,
Mhm.
into being struggling with artistic block, or maybe doing really, really well, but like stuck, like, what am I going to do next? How am I
Yeah.
going to push things to the next level?
Yeah.
And I was so fascinated with art and
Mm.
with the creative process that I was really good with them right away. I was just
Mhm.
deeply interested. Um,
Okay.
and that went for decades. I was doing that. And then around, I don't know, probably trying to think, 20 or more than 20 years ago, I started taking Japanese flower arranging classes.
Mhm.
And I never recognized that as an art form, but it clearly is an art form. I know now it's really all about composition and design and how
Yeah.
you utilize space.
Yeah.
So that, and then after I lost my mom to Alzheimer's, which was in 2009, I started getting more interested in printmaking, and
Mhm.
but still never thought of myself as an artist. That was
Mhm.
for other people, that was for people who started earlier. I was
Sure.
getting
Okay.
older,
Uh-huh.
just
Okay.
wasn't for me.
Uh-huh.
And then did you take Nicholas Wilton's program in 2018? I think, were we in it the
Yeah,
same
yeah,
year?
maybe that's how we kind of connected a little bit
Yes,
there.
yes, yes.
2018, yeah.
Yeah, so I start just before I did that in 2018. I had started to get pretty obsessed. Like, I was taking class after class after class.
Mm. Mhm.
But I was pretty perfectionistic and stuck. I mean, I
Mm.
had thoughts. It now seems funny to me to think about that. I thought that I wouldn't need, like, if I wanted to be an artist, since I'd helped so many other artists over the years, I thought I wouldn't be in my own way the way artists can get. I just thought I would apply the principles I apply to
Uh-huh.
other people, and it was
Got
just
it.
seamless.
Yeah.
It kind of seems hilarious to me now because absolutely
Yeah. Isn't
nobody.
that funny?
Yeah, it is. It's like nobody's immune. Nobody.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
wasn't. So
Uh-huh.
that, but then I'd say during that program that we both took with Nicholas is when I started actually calling myself an artist,
Okay.
and identifying that way. So, and
Yeah.
I had a name change. I mean, it was a whole thing.
Yeah. So yeah, have you been working with acrylic or abstract painting at that time, or
Yes, I would say then I was actually interested in faces before, and before
faces?
2018, I
Mm-hmm.
started taking some classical portraiture classes,
Mm-hmm.
which I actually hated. I hated them because there were so many ways to be like, I really love faces, but
Mm-hmm.
there were so many ways to be wrong in those classes.
Mm-hmm.
So I would find myself dreading them when it was time
Okay.
to go. I didn't feel like going, and I didn't feel like practicing because it was, I
Yeah.
wanted to learn, and I did learn things,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
but it was just not fun. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you're such a fun painter. I mean, like, no, seriously, anybody who
Yeah.
watches you can see the joy in it. And I think joy helps you keep showing up.
Mm-hmm. Of
Um,
course, yeah. Like if you like what you do, like do
exactly,
it. Just
exactly,
like eating cake. I like it. Eat again.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
it was really hard. Like, even though I loved and was drawn to faces and I'm interested in
Mm-hmm.
people, it
Yeah.
was before, I'd say 2019, I really didn't do that in any consistent way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was too connected to rules,
Mm-hmm.
sort of a brat by nature. So I
Okay.
you
Yeah.
know, I did.
Yeah. But lately I saw you paint a series of faces as
Yes,
well. You
yes,
kind of going back to that a little bit and
yes.
in and out of abstract and that. Yeah.
I do both. I actually like the option of
Yeah.
back and forth. I
Yeah.
really find that freeing. I like,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Mm-hmm.
got started so late in
Mm-hmm.
life. I mean, calling myself an artist, that
Yeah.
I sort of feel like I don't want to have to follow rules about you can only do one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I
Sure. Yeah.
feel like I don't have
Don't put yourself in the box. Basically.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. I
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
to have the
Yeah.
freedom to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think those faces that you're doing, does it have connection to how you like people and how you like helping other artists using your psychology um, magic? Is there anything connected to that or no?
I think so. I just think I'm like, I was talking about it recently to somebody else, and like, I'm not interested in painting pretty faces
Mm-hmm.
at
Yeah.
all. I find them, I might like looking at a pretty
Yeah.
face, but I don't find it interesting. I'm
Okay.
interested in like kind of it's not that I'm interested in misery, though it is interesting to paint. I'm interested in depth. I'm
Uh-huh.
interested in layers, and
Mm-hmm.
um, sort of the psychology of people, and not just the surface.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
definitely. So, and when I'm helping other artists, I'm helping them with find what lights them up for
Yeah.
sure, and
Yeah.
also find what gets in the way of that.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And that's
Cool.
I just find that interesting. I think the
Yeah.
richness of that, and
Mm-hmm.
the sort of universal struggles that people have, and how to capture that in paint or charcoal. I
Mm-hmm.
really enjoy that a lot.
Okay. Well, that's perfect then. So tell me more about like what do you what is it that you do with your psychology magic wand
Yes, okay, all right.
and your art, and how do you help other artists
It's interesting. I've been doing it again privately in my private practice, and with
Mhm.
art for, again, it's more than 30 years now.
Wow, okay.
But then what I started doing do you know about the 100-Day Project, Nino? Are you familiar with that?
I seen people posting about 100 days, yeah, but I
Yeah.
don't know exactly the background
Sure.
of it. Yeah.
I'll make it real short. It was started, I think, around 12 years ago. I forget,
Mhm.
but by a professor of, maybe it's architecture. I don't even know that he's
Mhm.
a straight artist, but he gave an assignment to his class.
Oh yeah, okay.
pick something to do every day for 100 days. And he said, I guarantee you it's going to become insufferably boring. You're going to get totally sick of yourself, but I want you to show up anyway, and I want you to document it. And several years ago, a woman named Elle Luna, who's actually also an artist in the building that I have my studio in, she brought it to Instagram. It became very, very big. I started doing my faces, my post-it drawings. I did them in 2019.
Yeah.
And I've done it every year since. Mostly I don't get to 100, but I'm in it. And this year I provided coaching for people on Instagram going the 100-day project.
Okay.
And since then, I really, much to my surprise, I really enjoyed it because I had never done video before. I was doing IGTV videos, and it had a lot of interest, and it really helped a lot of people, people who were in their own way, and all these voices, and the garbage that shows up for all artists was showing up for people. And I really was helping people get through it using my magic wand toolkit. So funny that you say magic wand, because more than magic wand, I really help people give up on getting rid of the inner critic. I more than anything, I help them do two things. I help them really raise the volume a lot on what matters to them and why they care about being an artist. And I help them lower the volume on everything that gets in the way. And those are the two components that together, in my experience, help people show up and stop avoiding the work, because people avoid and procrastinate for mostly similar reasons, even if it feels different. Like you dress it up, like I'm going to use your metaphor. It's like they may have different spices, but it's the same stuff underneath it. It's the same stuff of feeling you're not good enough. You'll be embarrassed. You'll be humiliated publicly. You won't measure up. It's all, you'll run at for successful artists, people who other people wouldn't see as struggling. They're struggling too. They think, what if I can't do it anymore? What if I run out of juice? What if I keep repeating? I mean, people have very similar concerns that get in their way. And I help them learn how to pay attention and learn how to not pay attention to what's helpful. And I have a whole, the program that I'm starting at the end of the month is I'm walking people through a whole series of exercises and meditations and ways to really get tuned into what matter to them. And again, turn down the volume and what doesn't, and sort of cry uncle in the face of certain things, what if that never goes away? And what if it doesn't matter? What if it doesn't matter that somebody's, chattering in your ear that you're not good enough? And what if you could, just say whatever.
Right.
And create instead, which is easier said than done, but doable.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny how we all, like you said, we all experience this. We all have these doubts, no matter how successful.
Exactly.
That so we all human. So, what can you give us one example of what exercise that you do in your program to help, one aspect of it, so people can have a taste of?
Sure. Well, one of the things that I do is help people. I give people various ways. So after we find out, people are going to know what their particular triggers are, because everybody's got their, if I'm not going to put you on the spot, Nino, but you probably.
Oh, that's okay.
When you have when you get in trouble with yourself, what does it sound like? I mean, what's the flavor of the trouble you get into with yourself?
In trouble in what way?
When you get stuck, when the inner critic visits you, what kind of things does it say? It's usually similar things.
I don't know. This doesn't look good, or I don't know what I'm doing, or it's been done before. I've seen this.
Sure.
Or that's not original, or
here we go. Okay.
That's just 1% of the noise.
Okay. So, you're right now in a pretty good rhythm with yourself. You're in there every day creating anyway. And that's, that certainly is the best antidote, is if you can show up anyway. But for some people, voice, instead of at 1%, maybe it gets louder. It's 10, 20, 30, 40%. or or maybe it's not just it's not original. It might flips over into it's not original and it will never be original again. And you know, like it can get pretty nasty in there for people sometimes.
Yeah.
And like depending on what else is going on in your life, it might get really nasty.
Exactly.
So I had several exercises that have to do with getting distance on it, like getting perspective. So you might like give a name to that voice, like give an identity to it. You could call it Mel, or you could call it Uncle Sam. I mean, you could just like find a name for that voice. And when you hear it, you might say something like, Mel, you again. You know, it's like, you know, I hear you, and Mel might say, yeah, you know, it's really not original. People are going to be saying things to you like, we've seen that already. This is very boring. We're not interested in listening to you anymore. We're not interested in watching what you have to say anymore. And you say to Mel, you know, I hear it. I hear what you're saying, Mel, but I need you to like take that seat in the corner with the rags on it and turn it around. And I'm busy working.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it's useful. It's very silly, but in my book, silly is good because you want to get some distance on that. You want to, like, if you can laugh at yourself for it, then
I see. Yeah.
So you might even sing whatever Mel is saying. You might literally sing it in the tune of Happy Birthday or something. Or you might do things like say it in a ridiculous voice, like in a Daffy Duck voice. You might basically whatever you can do that gives you some distance at it. What you're trying to do is look at the inner critic, not from the inner critic. When you're looking from the inner critic, you're completely kind of identified with it.
Yeah.
Then you're sunk. But if you can see, if you can say, like, you might even say, like, sometimes it's so bad, the volume's so high on it that you can't, these little like cute things don't work. And then, I mean, often they do, and that's great. But if you don't, if it's so loud that you can't, then what you might do is say something, then you're sort of moving more into self-compassion territory. And then it's like, you might say, wow, to yourself, you're really having a rough time today. You know, this is just one of those days, you know, why don't you're saying to yourself, why don't you just leave the studio, have a nice cup of tea, you know, buy yourself some flowers, or like call a friend, call somebody else. Like if you can't get out of it today, what you don't want to do is stay in the studio with Mel screaming crap at you. You just don't want to do that. You want to break the rhythm. I'll also be teaching a lot of sort of ways to pay attention so you know you're in its grip. Because sometimes for people, they just know they're avoiding their studio, or they just know they feel miserable there. And I want people to feel happy and joyful in there, so they'll go back more. So you know, I'm helping you tune into the kind of things you're feeding yourself.
So do you think that noise also connected to our own like perfectionist self, or is
That's a great question?
Because not everybody everybody is perfectionist, but it's at different levels, right? That's the way I see it. Like my wife's perfectionist is different than mine, or different levels, or different subject. Like right.
I think it's an excellent question, and I think all of this stuff, everything we're talking about, is on a continuum. You know, like sometimes it's perfectionism, and sometimes it's just high standards, and sometimes it's just like,
are they different? High standard and perfectionist?
Yeah, words. They are, because and one of the ways, you know, this is another thing I'll be talking about. Like, how do you know that it's a problem? One of the ways you know is that you're frozen. You know, is that you can't make a move. And then it's perfectionism. If it's like, if you're standing back and you're looking at something and there's not nastiness in it, you're just looking at it and you're saying, that's good, but I see it can be better, and here's how it could be better. Let me get it there. I don't see that as perfectionism or a problem at all. You know? But if you're like sitting there and frozen, you're saying, it really sucks. I can't, you know, it's like, it's like 99 and 9/10% there, and I can't possibly put it out because somebody can see that. That's different.
Okay, got it. Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's you really, and it can change from person to person, or it can change depending on what else is going on in your life, something that you can just flow with one day,
Yeah.
maybe something happened the next day that was
Yeah.
upsetting to you and you're just off kilter.
Yeah.
Then you want to pay attention and say, like, today might not be the best day to go into the studio because I'm feeling pretty
Yeah.
raw because X happened.
Mhm.
And I don't want to interpret my challenges in the studio as about me and my art. They're probably just about I'm having a rough week because X, Y, or Z happened.
Mhm.
So it's really all about paying attention and not cutting yourself. Sometimes you want to cut yourself slack, but sometimes you want to like give yourself a loving kick in the rear and get going.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not all about cutting yourself slack. And how
Uh-huh.
do you know the difference between those?
Yeah.
Another thing we'll be talking about a lot in the
Yeah.
program is, how can you tell?
It's also I feel like it's also connected to how you grew up, like your childhood experiences with things
Totally.
inform you how to
Totally.
look at things when you get older, right?
Yep, for sure.
Um,
For sure.
yeah. So sometimes this exercise you have to kind of go back to that then, you think, or
Yeah, I do.
kind of dig deep a little bit more and
Yeah, and again, for me, how I'm all about in this program helping people tap into what they love and what's meaningful to them about their art.
Mhm.
And if there's stuff that gets in the way, and if that stuff is older stuff, we'll look at that. But it's not primarily about digging deep. I mean, so somebody
Okay.
asked me that, won't it be gloomy, the program?
No, well,
Yeah.
okay.
It's
You
and
don't
that's
want to
like,
be gloomy.
and it's not gloomy. It's again, we start with why you care, why this matters. That's where we start.
Mhm.
And then we go into like, what are your personal tripwires? And because everybody's got them, that's
Yeah.
like
Okay.
the scary
Cool.
people are the people who pretend they don't have any problems,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but we go, and it's coaching, it's not therapy.
Okay.
But people will benefit from my 30 years of doing therapy. So I know this terrain really,
Yeah.
really well of how to help people and
Mhm.
when people are tripped up. And I don't believe in going back into your history for the sake of going back. I
Uh-huh.
feel like I'm going to go back with people if it's going to help them move forward towards what they care about.
Exactly. Okay.
If it's
Okay.
getting in the way.
Cool. Yeah.
If it's getting in the way.
Yeah.
It's not, it's interesting. I used to think I was trained as a psychologist all about your history and digging into your history. That was my background in training as a
Uh-huh.
psychologist. But as the decades have passed, I still know how to do that. And sometimes I think it's important, but sometimes it's
It's
just
not?
not necessary. Sometimes
Mhm.
it's not necessary. And sometimes it's even problematic because it gets you more stuck.
Ah, I see.
And so, and I'm at this point really good on knowing how to,
Yeah.
take
The
it.
yeah,
So,
balancing it out.
yeah.
Okay. What's okay, cool. So what's the name of the program?
The program is called Imagine ... Coaching
Oh,
for Creatives.
okay.
And people can find it right now in my link in bio on Instagram, which Instagram is Rachel Davis Art Bay Area. You'll probably have that, tagged. But then my top link in bio will take you to the page that's telling people about it, and it's going to open up a week from Saturday. It's so interesting. I'm super excited about it. And I'm also definitely nervous. So I'm having to take my own
Yeah.
on the program, because I've never done this before. It's on this new app that's very cool where people can actually talk to me and I can talk back to them, video and audio.
Video, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
People don't have to do that, but they can if they want to. And it's really cool and sort of a nice, intimate space. But I'm definitely nervous, and I'm just having to say to myself, like, why do I care? So I care because I really want to help as many artists as possible show up for this life. I mean, I think it's such an amazing thing to be able to do with your life, to create and share it with people.
Yeah.
So I want to help people get out of their own ways. So if I'm scared, gulp and go ahead anyway.
Yeah, that's good. If you're scared, you have to really do it then, right?
If it was like whatever, it would just be boring. It wouldn't it wouldn't have the excitement. So there's definitely enough nervousness for me to be excited, for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. So the program. Tell me more about the program. Like how long or
Sure.
yeah.
It's a 2-month course.
Okay.
And it's going to be, I'm going to have different modules. We're going to start with this deep dive into like your North Star, what matters and why. That's going to be in the first week. I'm going to have exercises about all of these things. I'm going to do every week for the first month. I'm going to be doing exercises, on paying attention, the various ways to pay attention and not to pay attention, how to tune into your body more and get more information from that than you do. Lots of meditations that I'll be recording that people can take into their studio with them.
Okay.
The second week, we'll be talking about people's personal tripwires and the history of that. So people have their own like personal roadmap, like what gets in your personal way. And everybody's got their top 10 hits. We're going to do like failure biographies, like all the ways you have failed to get rid of this stuff. Most people have wasted an enormous amount of energy over the course of their lives trying to fix themselves.
Yeah.
And this program is not about fixing yourself. It's about accepting yourself and then turning your energy, instead of fixing yourself, turning it to doing what matters to you. That's what the program's about. We'll also do a whole bunch of stuff on self-compassion, which is so much easier to say than to do. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I have definitely noticed that in my work with people.
Yeah.
So we're going to spend a lot of time on that. And I'm also so I'm going to have these lessons that stand alone, and then I'm going to start discussion. The app allows me to start like these posts where I'll ask questions about the lessons and people can respond to them and to me and to each other in not in real time, but in video that you can watch on your own time. And people also will have the opportunity to ask me personal questions, and those are clearly delineated.
Cool.
And then depending on how people respond to the material, I know me, and I'll be doing more videos in response to what the questions that people ask. This is the first time I'm doing it, so I'll learn a lot this time.
Of course,
I've got a ton of material, and I'm gonna limit it because I could overwhelm people and I don't want to. So I won't. And the exercises themselves are short, anywhere from, not the videos are like 5 to 20 minutes. And I'm envisioning people listening to them multiple times to sort of absorb it differently.
Yeah. Okay. It's cool.
Yeah.
Sounds exciting. Check it out here. This is really cool. Definitely another aspect of art practice, isn't it? It's not just about the technique or the physical technique on paint and how to paint. It's a lot of it you got to do about our mind, isn't it? Like
exactly. And I'm glad you mentioned that, though. This is primarily about mindset and your relationship with yourself, because when you're creating, you're alone essentially, and when push comes to shove, you're by yourself in your studio creating.
True.
So this is going to be helping people get in the best relationship with themselves as possible so that they can create. I'm also going to do bonuses where I'm going to take people through some of my favorite, like loosening up exercises when I get stuck, some of my like things in the studio. So there will be some actual art making in it, because I just think that's fun and it breaks it up. But it's not primarily a how to paint course. It's how to get in better relationship with yourself and accept yourself and dig into your practice in a sustainable way so you don't get caught up on this and can keep going. That's
cool. That's really exciting. All right, so let's wrap it up. What's your I always ask this, if you have one advice for other artists.
I'm cheating. It's hard to be one, but
that's okay.
So I think the first one is sort of paradoxical. I want people to embrace failure. And I mean that in a number of ways. I mean, embrace that you will fail at killing your inner critic. I want you to embrace that you are not going to succeed at that. And just like give up trying is my best advice on that one, because if you embrace that failure, it has much less power over you. And again, you have much more freedom to pursue way more fun things. So that's one. And then the second was kind of inspired by you, and it's really to laugh as much as you can and take yourself as unseriously as you can, because I think you take your work very seriously, but I see that you make it a point to laugh a lot. I always look forward to your stories because they often make me laugh. And I know it's a cliche, but I do think laughter is the best medicine. I just do. And so I think that embracing failure and laughing at yourself, not at yourself, but with yourself, are my top pieces of advice.
Cool. Well, thank you. That's great advice, Rachel. So, well, again, thank you again for your time. I wish you all the best. I think it's awesome program.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted that you gave me this opportunity, and I've told everybody on my feed to come check out yours in case they don't know you. So hopefully they will. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Sounds good. Bye-bye.